Yep.
Oh, snap.
Oh, I'm being recorded right now.
Yeah. I said you're going to go.
All right.
Okay, let's change that
Yeah.
because you now have a picture of my belt instead of my face.
All right. You guys. Some tips to help you guys and some you can share with your reps as well.
Yeah, and I'll keep this fairly short, but just to give you my credentials, because I don't think a talk means anything unless you know who's giving it. As Kathy pointed out earlier, and of course people watching the video in the future won't catch this, I've been affiliated with Cutco one capacity or another for 27 years, which is just absolutely totally cool in my opinion. I was recruited in Atlanta, Georgia in 1988. I was a branch manager the next summer, district manager for 11 years following my graduation from college. Went back to being a sales rep, finished top 10 in the country in 2002 on an average of 8 appointments a week. I cleared $50,000 in income, which is barely working if you think about it. There's 4 demos and 4 service calls. I separate out my demos from my service calls in my statistics because they're 2 very different animals in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
My average order on a demo, my average.
We'll start at 7:15.
That's
so
fine.
We can mingle and go, and you have 20 minutes of just like hang out.
My average CPO on a demo, average CPO per demo was $400 with a 92% closing ratio.
Dang.
92% closing ratio. My average order on a service call is significantly less because if I sold you the first time, you got almost everything you're going to get. Okay, there are people that are.
$400 back then is like $700 now.
Yeah, this is when a Homemaker Plus 8 was I had a Homemaker Plus 8 and plus the shears and plus the tools was just over $1,000, barely.
Damn.
Yeah. So this is 2002, my friends. This goes back when I started. Homemaker Plus 8 was $611, but that's the story for another day. Anyway. I hate closing. I hate handling objections. I'm awkward. I don't like confrontation. And I'm in sales. What the hell? I got really good at my demo. I figured out if you get really good at the demo, you don't have to handle many objections. Or more accurately, you don't have to handle objections at the end. You handle them in the middle or more accurately before they even come out. Okay? This talk needs an hour and a half. I've not been graced with an hour and a half to give this talk. I will give you the 20-minute version. The 20-minute version has been variously described as the best talk I've ever heard at Cutco and the talk that saved my career. So you just imagine what you do if you ever get hold of the hour and a half version. Okay? Available on video.
It's
Copyright protected.
Is it American Connect?
No. It's on disc and I have it if you really need one. Okay, and it's copyright protected. Anyway, here's the main key. When you're on the demo, you have to understand that there are 4.5 things that you're selling on every demo. 4.5 things. I know you're going, it can't be 4.5. It's either 4 or it's 5, which is, nope, it's 4.5. And that way I'll know I'll have your attention to the end of the talk. you're dying to know what that 1/2 is. And it really is. It's a subset of number 4. So let me ask you, what do you think the 4 main things that you're trying to sell on every demo?
Yourself?
Yourself. Every group ever gets that, and then that's as far as they get.
Your vision?
Goals.
Yourself. The value. Why is Cutco expensive? The set concept. And ownership.
You said what?
The set concept. And the 4th one is ownership.
0.5.
When I get to 4, number 5 will make sense. No, it won't make sense until I get there. And again, this will be a grossly abbreviated version. I will not talk about selling yourself. I never do in this talk because if you got this far in the program, you've got that part down. If you made it through the interview, you know something about selling yourself. Everybody builds rapport in a different way. Everybody talks about vision, goals, objectives in a different way, which is fine. But the value is critical. Because what is the last set of knives that your customer priced?
Walmart.
You think?
Probably.
Most of your customers out looking for knives?
No.
No. Which means the last set of knives they were priced passively. Meaning on television, late at night,
$19.95.
for a whole set, but wait, there's more. Am I right? They think a whole set of knives costs $29.95.
Plus you can handle
Okay?
No, I'm giving it for free.
But wait, there's more. Okay? Does that make sense to y'all? So, is Cutco expensive?
No.
What's the best way to explain that Cutco's expensive?
It feels like Costco.
You tell them that Cutco is expensive.
Yeah.
You should use the word expensive as many times as possible in your presentation. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And when I was new, I was like, oh, hell no. I mean, nobody taught me that, but I didn't. I wanted to surprise them at the end. I wanted to go the whole demo with them not thinking it was very much because it was such a big number to me. I mean, the price of a Homemaker Plus 8 was my first semester's worth of spending money. And by that, I mean books and food spending money. Now, I also blew that same number on spring break. Am I right? Okay. But you see what I'm saying? So I thought it was a big number. It's only a big number if your customer thinks it's going to be a small number before you tell them the number. The more they think it is, the better it sounds when you get to the end. Does that make sense? You want them thinking it's more.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, it would be nice if people had a little digital counter on their forehead. And pretty soon there'll be an app for that. And every time you say the word expensive and guarantee and American made, that number would go up. And when it reaches $11.89, right? I don't even know. You would stop your demo. And some of your demos would last 10 minutes and some would last 3 hours. But when it said the price of Homemaker Plus 8, you'd stop and be done. But they don't have that little digital readout. So you got to try to overshoot it. Okay? Here's what was the mental adjustment for me, and usually is for people y'all's age. I thought that if I told them it was expensive, they would be less interested. That is not a true statement in any form or fashion. Okay? The former region manager of the Eastern region is a guy named Tom Quinney. You'll never meet him. He has settled, interestingly, in League City, Texas after he retired. He has a very vicious form of throat cancer. Only his very closest friends can visit him. I've tried to visit him several times since I moved here. He always declines, so you'll never get to meet him. He'll probably be dead by the end of the summer. Yep, it's very sad. Okay, now I'm trying to remember what the point of bringing up Tom Quinney was. Tom Quinney and I went car shopping together. Let me phrase that differently. I went car shopping with Tom Quinney. As a district manager and a region manager, our budgets were quite different, but he was going to the exotic car dealership, and I decided to go too. So we go down in Atlanta to the suburbs, and we walk on a lot, and he says, I'm here to look at the Dodge Viper. And the guy says, there it is. And he turns to me and says, what would you like to test drive? Now, I don't know if he thought I was a prospect or not, and there's a whole lesson right there in not treating me as not a prospect. Maybe he's just smart enough to know whether this guy can afford one or not, I need to get him out of here. Because if I can't afford the Dodge Viper that Tom and I are riding in, I'm going to do what? I might try and do what?
Mess it up.
Talk Tom out of it. Because I don't want to be friends with a guy that can afford a Dodge Viper when I can't. Does that make sense? So he says, what do you want to drive? And I said, is the DeLorean available? And he said, yes. And I said, then I believe I will. Now, was I going to buy a DeLorean? No way. Could I have? Yes, and gotten divorced the same week, I'm sure. But the fact that it was an expensive car did not turn me off. It did what? Turned me on. Okay? Think of it this way. If you sit down with a customer, they go, hey, before you start, I want to make sure you're not wasting your time here. Is this stuff very expensive? And you said, hey, don't worry. I just brought some cheap crap over. It's like the stuff you see on late night TV. Get out of my house. You brought cheap junk over. You're going to show me cheap junk? Okay? But if you start to talk about how expensive it is and how much it costs, and it's guaranteed forever, and you pay more for it, but it's worth it, all those key phrases that you already know, they fall in love with it because they're going, it's okay to fall in love with it because I can't afford it anyway. So I'll just fall in love with it. Straight up. Different trip to a car dealership, and I fell in love with the Jaguar, and the guy finally quoted me the price, and I said, that's it? And then I left because I lost all my negotiating power. Does that make sense? But do you see what I'm saying? If you can get them to go, that's it? See, they haven't thought of any objections because they thought price was going to be the objection. They're falling in love with it, going, I can't afford it, so it's okay to fall in love with it. And they don't bother thinking up any other objections. And you get to the end and they go, I can't afford it? Crap, I got nowhere to hide. So you want to use the word expensive a lot, okay? That's the short version of that. Next point to make is set concept. How do you think you sell the set concept? Use the word set a lot. There's no time to ever say the word Cutco that you should not say the phrase sets of Cutco. All of our cutlery sets are made in America. Cutco's been making the world's finest cutlery set since 1949. Every knife in your set is covered by the Forever Guarantee. The next knife in your set, 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 the next knife in your set. You're with me? Why would you ever say the word Cutco when you could say the word set of Cutco or sets of Cutco?
Cutco sets.
Okay? Cutco sets. Because how do they buy their knives? How do they get the knives that are probably on the counter already? Did they go out and go down to Rich's or Macy's or one of these nice, what do they call it? What's the big kitchen store? Sur La Table or something like that and shop for nice knives? No way. It was a wedding gift. And the problem is that the person that bought them the wedding gift spent as much for a set of knives as they should have spent on one knife. Straight up. Are they better off with a $65 set of knives or a trimmer, in your opinion?
Trimmer.
There's no lecture on how to use all the different knives, so they use whichever one they think is right. There's probably 3 or 4 that they use all the time. How many of y'all have had the customer say, I just use the same 3 or 4 all the time? And the answer to that is no problem, Ms. Smith. If they all suck, it doesn't really matter.
They all suck what?
It doesn't really matter.
Do you tell your clients that?
Oh, yeah. Now, keep in mind that as a, I'm 47 now. As a older, because when I was a sales rep for real, feeding the family, I was an older sales rep. There are things that I could say at 30 and 40 that you can't. There are things you can say at 18 and 19 and 20 that I can't. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, but I don't think that one is age band. I think you can say, Ms. Smith, if the knives aren't that good, it doesn't really matter which one you use. Or if they're not that sharp, it doesn't really matter which one you use. You could say it that way if you think it needs to be more gentle, but I don't have a problem saying, well, if they're not suck, it doesn't matter. Because my customers know their knives suck. They're not happy about their knives.
Yeah.
They would have better knives if they could ever have been educated on how to get good knives. But they don't know. There's no education. The guy working at Walmart. So anyway, they got the set from Walmart. It was a wedding gift. 1 or 2 start to wear out. They go down and buy 1 or 2 knives from an uneducated person or nobody at all. They just take it off the shelf, right? So they don't have a clue. They don't buy knives in sets. By the way, when you talk about sets, doesn't that help build the value concept? Isn't it the same thing at the same time? It's one of the things that helps you build the value, okay? I don't know how the flip book is laid out these days, but I broke mine apart and put it in sheet protectors. And before you see the picture of all the knives, you see in my flip book a picture of the set. Mrs. Smith, I know you can't tell what comes in your set from here. I will show you, and when I flip to the next page, I'm going to have to flip backwards here to make it work. These are the knives in your set. But they don't see a bunch of pieces before they see a set. Ms. Smith, we've got a couple of basic sets. The basic set, this is every knife you'd ever need. The complete set, every knife you'd ever want. I'm not here to tell you which one to buy. If you just do some basic cooking, this is probably what you need. If you really like to get into it or you just want the biggest set we got, then that'll be every knife you ever want. If I get to the end, Ms. Smith, and you haven't made up your mind, I'm going to recommend the smaller of the 2 because I'd rather you want more than think I sold you too much. Okay, now I'm not really selling sets with that phrase. I'm actually on 4.5, so I'll come back to that in a minute, okay? But you see the value of showing them the way the set looks. A set is made up of a bunch of knives. Not if you got all these different knives, then you'd have a set. Does that make sense? Okay. The fourth one, ownership. It's not enough to convince them you got cool knives. You have to convince them their lives will be cool when they have the knives. When you are new, you can get away without selling ownership, and here's why. Your friends and family are already inclined to try to buy something from you if it's worthwhile. Mm-hmm. They're looking for a reason to own it. So you can get away with just explaining how cool the knives are. But once you get out of friends and family, and if you've got an FSM that's struggling or you've seen somebody whose average orders actually dropped, it's because they're not including ownership. Because when you walk into somebody that's not friends or family, they're not trying to find a reason to buy. Does that make sense? How much are they planning on spending when you get there?
$50.
Really?
$10.
No, because what do we say over the phone?
Plus,
I get paid just to show it. You don't have to buy anything. That's fine because I don't want any knives. Because what are they thinking? I don't want more of what I got, and I can't blame them. Who would? Okay. So ownership. Well, I've already used one word 40 times in this talk. The next knife in, you're set. The next knife in, you're set. All your Cutco is guaranteed forever. Every knife in your set is covered by the Cutco Forever Guarantee. How you're going to use the guarantee, Mrs. Smith, is after you've had them 8 or 10 years, you're going to want to mail them back to home office unless I'm still in the area or you haven't moved. And then I'll come by and sharpen your set of Cutco for you. Okay? You with me on this, guys? That's the value of letting them cut stuff because then it becomes theirs. Okay? Who's the last person that should handle the knife? Well, obviously you've got to pack and leave, but I don't pack before I've written the order.
Yeah.
The last person to touch the knife before it goes in the block or the tray, and tell me you guys are carrying blocks, you guys are advanced. The block faces them, the knives come out, they play with them, they put them in. If I need it back to do a cutting demo, can I borrow that? And I don't reach, I point, can I borrow that? And they hand it to me because if I'm borrowing it, whose is it?
Theirs.
And I hand it to them, and if they can't figure out where to put it in the block, I just say we start at the bottom and work up, and they go, okay. So you'll have the hang of it in no time. Very assumptive.
It's like subliminal messaging.
Huh?
Subliminal.
No, it's not. The Visa MasterCard sticker we used to put on the side of the cutting board, that's subliminal messaging. But anyway, no, it's not. You can call it whatever you want. It's painting the picture because they're not going to sit there and go, I'm going to try really hard to picture me with those knives. You've got to do it for them. Does that make sense? You really got to do it for them. Okay? So now if they get the knives dirty and they want, and they need to be clean and they say, you know, should I wash these? What should you do? Let them go over to the sink and wash them. How many of y'all been at somebody's house for a meal and you're like, let me help clean up? And they say what? No, I got it. So if they're cleaning up, it implies what? These are mine. And if I've got a housewife by herself, I will take my block and I will say, Ms. Smith, would you put these next to the stove or the microwave? And I will leave that block there and sit back down at the table and close. And they've got me out of the corner of their eye and looking at that set of knives on the counter the whole time. Now, I was 3 years in the business, 2.5 before they came out with white. And I was glad that they did, not because we sell more because we have white, but because my customers kept thinking I was going to leave my Homemaker Plus 8 with them. Because I was nailing down the ownership. They were surprised when I went to pack the knives. But now that I got some black and some white, they don't want that set. They want one that's all the same color.
That's funny.
Oh, cool. I'm glad I have black and white in my set.
The first time I introduced color, which is usually pretty early in the demo, because either my paring knife is plastic and my trimmer's pearl or vice versa, and it depends on, you know, which customer bought something from me, you know, out of my kit last. I'm like, well, fine, you can have this one. You know, just plug another one. But I'm about 2 or 3 knives in before they've seen 2 colors.
Really seen 2 what? Colors.
2 colors. They've seen 2 colored handles by the time I'm about 3 knives in, at the most, probably 2 knives. I stop and say, Mrs. Smith, you could have these in white, and if, depending on where we're sitting, I will hold it where they can see the handles against their cabinetry, or we can do these in dark. Which would look better in your kitchen? And I do that early. That is not a last-minute decision. That is an early decision. They've already picked the color before they even decided to buy anything.
Where do you have your block at that point? On the table or in there?
The block comes out, sits next to them, facing them. I hand them the knives and put them out. But we've got a couple knives out, okay? And I'd say, and I may do it a little closer to the end, but I never do it. I always do it before we're at the close because I don't want them making any choice but thumbs up or thumbs down at the end. That's it. That's the only thing we got to do. Am I signing up? Is it the budget plan or is it paid in full? That's the question. My closing question, 95 times out of 100, is which credit card do you want to put this on? Or what did you want free with that? Because the sales made it. Okay. But anyway, so I would take maybe, I would hold one classic knife. Let's say she's sitting here. How would I picture this? A lot closer. But she's sitting here and I'm sitting here and there's the kitchen. And I would say, Betty, we've got the dark, and she's looking at it against her cabinetry, and I put it down, I pick up a white nail knife, I'd hold it by the blade. So the white, I said, we've got the white. What are you thinking? Yeah. Whatever she said, yeah.
That's a good one.
No, because women do what? honey, should I wear the black dress or the red dress? You got to affirm that choice. Now, some women, please explain to me, when I say the black dress, my wife always wears the red. It's killing me. I said, why did you even ask? But anyway, they asked, you need to affirm that. Yeah, I can see that. Whatever it is, you go with it. Does that make sense? But you affirm that choice. If you ask a question, you better affirm the answer. Ms. Smith, would you put that next to the stove or the microwave? Yeah, that looks good. That'd work. A lot of people do. Does that make sense? You need to affirm the answer. When you ask a question, you need to affirm, because otherwise they'll stop answering your questions. Right? They'll get you back for ignoring them. They'll start ignoring you. Okay, 4.5. You guys are down to know what 4.5 is. And guys, this is really the grossly abbreviated talk. The examples I've got in the hour-and-a-half version. By the way, the DVD comes with another 30 minutes of Katie Haney when she was pregnant with her son. But anyway, the 4.5, it's a subset of number 4. You're selling, buying it from you. I'd like to say that all my customers in Columbia, South Carolina only want to buy from Dan. That's not true. But I know for a fact that there's a lot of sales reps in Columbia, South Carolina that hate the name Dan Andrews, and they've never met me because I've been gone for 13 years. But they cannot sell a damn knife to about 1,000 people in that city. They're waiting on Dan to call them back.
Do you have any plans to call him back?
I hold what I believe to be, and I wish Kathy were in here to hear this, the all-time 65-year record for appointments in 1 week.
How many?
In a 7-day period, a straight 7 days, Friday 8 a.m. to Thursday midnight, 69.
That's his favorite.
Four- 14 in 1 day.
How? How fast are your demos?
I didn't say demos.
Okay, appointments.
Appointments.
So there's a service calls.
Mostly service calls. With my previous customers.
How much you sell that week?
About 13.5, 13.6. It wasn't a huge average order. It was only about 200 average order.
Yes.
Still.
Lost 8 pounds, caught a cold. Averaged about 0.8 meals a day. Didn't care. No, really, I didn't eat. I was too tired to eat. I was too busy, and then I was too tired. I'm at midnight trying to roll on my orders on a weak Wi-Fi at my dad's friend's house that I was staying at.
Oh my
How
gosh,
many,
she's scared.
How many phone calls did that take?
Not as many as you'd think.
Oh, yeah, because there's service.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll take a quick minute and tell you how that went down in case people want to know, because not everybody can pull that off. The first thing you need to know is that in 2 counties, I have 1,100 customers in my database, in 2 counties. And so a few weeks before I went, I started to call, and I said, I'm coming to South Carolina, and I'm going to do some service calls. Do you want to see me? And a lot of people said, yes, I want to see you. Call me when you get here. And I said, no, I will call you a week before I get there, because when I get there, there will be no phone time. None. I said, fine, call me a week before you get here. I left a lot of messages, and they did not call me back. And I said to my wife, this is weird. The people that I reach are anxious to see me. They're desperate for me to be there. It's been 5 years since I left that town. It's been a while since they've seen me. They're anxious, but the people that I leave messages for aren't calling me back. If people are excited, they should be excited enough to pick up the phone. If they're not, I don't get it. She said, whatever, keep calling. So a few days before I left, I called through again. I'm coming. Call me when you get here. Nope, you're going to get on the calendar right now. And I sorted it by zip code. If you were 29201, Monday was the day. If you're 29205, Thursday was the day. Because if not, that's okay. I just keep calling till I filled it. Does that make sense? Okay. And I drove to Asheville, North Carolina, which is about 3-4 hours from Columbia, through the night from St. Louis. Got up, service called. I guess you could probably, I don't think I counted him. I could probably count 70 of them. But I service called the guy I was staying with, who was a former rep of mine. He's still a close friend. And then drove south of there about an hour, did a service call, and then worked my way down in Columbia. So I get my first appointment was at 8 a.m. Friday morning. Oh, I know I didn't count him because I did it Thursday night when I got in at midnight. Yeah, I'm gonna be done in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
So when I woke up Friday morning on my way to my first 8 o'clock appointment, I had 46 appointments scheduled for the week. And I thought that was plenty. And that is plenty. That was a lot. I said, I'm good. And all week long, everybody that I said, call me before I get to town, blowing up my phone. Hey, she's not your customer, but she just moved in across the street. Hey, you called me, but you didn't call my sister because your sister never buys, but she lives across the street and needs you to go over there and do this demo, service call. Hey, my sister heard that you were coming and she got your message, but she failed to call you back. Could you go see her when you're done with me? And before I left, I had done 69 appointments, mostly service calls.
That sounds fun.
Oh my gosh, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a hoot.
That's a lot of people to
Did you ever
do.
get
This is
confused?
before GPS, by the way. I had to map everyone out.
Dang.
Oh my god.
Well, and I've been to most of their houses previously, but again, with 1,100 customers, it does
Yeah,
start
it
to
gets
run
mixed
together
up.
in your head. Now, here's the crazy part. I would pull in the driveway, and I have an immediate flashback of what they owned, what their family structure was, how roughly all the kids were. I
Do you
mean,
remember all that?
when I get to the driveway, I couldn't remember it looking at their name on a piece of paper, but I pull in the driveway, bam.
It came in.
It's crazy. But it did.
And I feel like I've been doing myself.
Oh, and I've got stories about those. Not most, but a large number of those appointments turned into stone cold riots. But at 10 o'clock at night on the day I did 14, it's a former sales rep of mine whose parents have been customers of mine forever. And I roll into their house at 10 o'clock after they put the kid to bed, and I'm eating out of their fridge as I'm doing the service call because I hadn't eaten that day. I'm like, I need to eat. I just walked over to the fridge. But I was like, okay. I just tried. I went and saw another customer one morning, and I got there, and I said, hey, can you make me a fried egg sandwich while I'm sharpening your knives? Because I roll out of the house too late this morning. She's like, no problem. I hadn't seen her in 17 years. The last time I saw her had been 17 years before that.
I think it's a big deal. Some juice right here.
I don't think
Okay, how do I
It's on
find
the
this stuff
DVD,
like
Dan.
this?